centuries. On the whole, there's no intersection with the geological imagination because it's precisely a technology of darkness rather than a cosmology of darkness. The exception is, the point to in which I conclude my talk, is in Rodin Crater, this multi-decade project by the contemporary American artist James Turrell, who has transformed a crater, truly a geological imagination, into a series of pathways and apertures for the witnessing of celestial events. And the culmination, the apex of that crater is a stairwell that goes up and eventually reaches the heavens. Before you leave this chamber, this viewing chamber, the aperture, an ovular aperture, appears like a perfectly flat two-dimensional surface, in a word, like a black screen, which is exactly the technology of darkness that I'm working on. So you pierce the black screen and enter back into nature, into the heavens, into the geological imagination. And that, to be honest, is exactly what I oppose.
What is darkness for you personally? How do you perceive the darkness?
I live in New York City, so there's not much by way of natural darkness. I'm interested, again, primarily in this technology of darkness, and that has largely, as I also try to argue, become historical. We no longer really use photographic darkrooms. Cinemas are now a occasional, infrequent, if not obsolescent form for the reception of cinema. Similarly, the black screen as a technology has been replaced by blue screens and grease screens and various digital technologies. So on the whole, the darknesses that have interested me most these last years are historical, and I have to do the work of the historian, the archivist, the archaeologist practically, in order to unearth them.
Do you think, like, in the next decades, people wouldn't be afraid of dark material? Or are people scared of right now, and would be the society scared of the dark material, like in the near future?
I think there's an interesting possibility that we'll become incredibly nostalgic for darkness, even the dangers implicit in it. Cities now are so totally devoid of darkness. They are so fantastically safe on the whole. We may very well find, like the last presentation by Paul in this session, this incredible nostalgia for earlier forms of darkness, which most of human history were terribly frightened of. I suspect that the fear is largely receded, and we have this complicated nostalgia in its place. Whether that's an improvement or not is I'll leave for others to decide.